Hello, hello, hello. And thank you again for joining me. My name is Ty, and this is the Unlearning Alchemist. If you are new here, let me explain what it is that we do. This is where we unlearn all those toxic patterns that have shaped us throughout generations and lives. This is where we come and we open those windows to those houses where what happens here stays here, and we reveal the truth behind all that pain and trauma. Here's where we learn to be ourselves genuinely and overcome all of those bad situations that we have once gone through. I would like to thank you for joining me today, as I know this can be hard. I know healing is not something that a lot of people can genuinely do, and to be able to choose that is such an amazing, amazing thing. And I want to say that I am so proud of you. So today, if you notice the sign, this is the Walls of Jericho, a hiking trail up in the northern part of Alabama, I believe. I recorded this quite a few weeks ago, and we were actually going to go see a cave and forgot to get our permits. So we just Googled the next closest trail, and the Walls of Jericho is what came up. Now, when I went on this hike, I didn't know the trail was called the Walls of Jericho, but when I saw the sign, I immediately knew that we were in the right place because I felt the God's whisper. That's exactly what you're doing with your life. See, we all have walls. Walls we build out of pain, out of survival, out of silence. Walls we inherited from generations before us. Poverty, abuse, addiction, broken love, and unhealed trauma. And we carry them thinking that they're protecting us, but the truth is, those walls often end up trapping us. Today, I want to talk to you about what it means to break generational curses. And I'm not talking about the spooky, churchy definition that makes people feel helpless. I'm talking about the real life cycles that pass through families, the trauma, the unhealthy patterns, the things that repeat until somebody finally says, enough is enough. Now, mind you, these walls don't show up out of nowhere. My walls started being built before I was even born. My parents had their walls, and my grandparents had theirs. In my life, my walls looked like silence. I learned young that saying too much wasn't safe. My walls look like independence. I don't need anyone because I have me. My walls look like perfectionism, people pleasing, and always being on guard. And you know what? Those walls worked. They did keep me safe. They kept me in safe environments that were not safe. They helped me survive abuse, neglect, betrayal, and family toxicity. They were my shield. But here's the problem: what saves you in one season can suffocate you in the next. Those same walls that keep me alive started keeping me alone. They kept me from trusting, from connecting, from receiving love. And if I didn't deal with them, they were going to become the walls my daughter grew up inside of. The story of Jericho says that people didn't shout and the walls fell immediately. No, they had to walk around those walls for 7 days, quietly, step after step. That's healing. That's breaking curses. It's not glamorous. It's not instant. It's showing up for therapy sessions. It's journaling when you'd rather be numb. It's saying no when your body is screaming to people please. It's lacing up your shoes and running, not from your pain, but toward your healing. Every lapse feels pointless at first. You don't see the wall move. You wonder if you're wasting your time. But every step is weakening what you can't see. When Jericho finally fell, it wasn't just because of the walking. It was faith. It was sound. It was community. Faith, you got to believe that freedom is possible, even when you've never seen it in your bloodline. Sound, they shouted, they used their voice, and breaking generational curses requires us to speak, to tell the truth, to break the silence, to say, this ends with me. Community, nobody brought down Jericho alone. You need people who will circle the wall with you when you're tired. For me, leaving an abusive relationship was my Jericho moment. I had to believe there was life on the other side. I had to use my shaky voice to say, I deserve better, and so does my daughter. And I had to tell people to in I had to let people in to help me, even when my walls told me not to trust anyone. And little by little, those walls started to crack. Here's the thing about breaking curses: you don't just do it for yourself, you do it for the ones coming after you. Every wall I've torn down is one less wall my daughter has to climb. She doesn't have to inherit silence. She doesn't have to inherit brokenness. She doesn't have to inherit a love story built on pain. And that's why this matters, because curses are inherited, but so is healing, so is freedom, so is joy. When those walls come down, you don't just step into a bigger life, you hand down a better legacy. And I know you're probably wondering, so how do we begin? For one, name your wall. You can't heal what you don't face. Say it out loud. Is it poverty, addiction, rage, silence, maybe abuse, or even control? Be honest about what keeps repeating in your family line. Step two, circle it. Consistency matters more than speed. Therapy, coaching, journaling, life coaches, prayer, meditation, running, breathe work, whatever keeps you walking, keep walking. Step three, use your sound to break the silence. Share your story, tell your truth, set the boundary. Every time you speak, the wall gets weaker. And finally, don't do it alone. Find your people, find your community. Healing is heavy, but it's lighter when it's carried together. Now, I do want to say that with healing comes self awareness, and self awareness is one of the strongest things you can have because one of the strongest walls in my bloodline wasn't even abuse, it was silence. Nobody talked about what happened. Nobody said the word trauma. Nobody believed in counseling or therapy. Nobody admitted pain. That silence became a fortress, and I carried that wall with me. I learned that keeping quiet kept the peace, but it also kept me in pieces. Breaking that curse meant opening my mouth even when my voice shook. And there's times when I look at my daughter and I see these walls have to fall because she doesn't just inherit my eyes or my smile. She inherits my nervous system, my patterns, my habits. If I don't deal with my walls, she grows up living inside them. And I refuse to let my baby inherit chains that weren't even hers to carry. Because some of us grew up behind walls of poverty where every dollar was a crisis, where scarcity was normal. And you know what that wall teaches? It teaches you not to dream. It teaches you to settle. It teaches you that wealth, freedom, stability, those things are for other people, not you. That's a lie. That's the curse. And tearing that wall down looks like financial literacy, building wealth, teaching our kids they're allowed to want more. Now, I really want you to stop and think, what wall do you recognize in your family? Is it rage? Is it broken marriages? Is it addiction? Is it just silence? Just name it in your mind right now. Naming the wall is the first step to tearing it down. Now let's be real. The walls of Jericho didn't fall because they walked once. It wasn't a one and done. They walked and walked and walked. That's what healing feels like. You go to therapy once and think shouldn't I feel different by now? No, baby. You're still on day one of your walk. Generational curses don't collapse overnight, but every lap weakens what you cannot see. And for some of us, anger can be the wall. Not just anger, but explosive, destructive anger, the kind that shuts people down. I know that wall. I've seen that wall. And here's the truth. Under that wall is grief. Under that wall is hurt. Breaking that curse doesn't mean pretending you're never angry. It means learning how to express anger without destroying everything in your path. But here's the part nobody talks about. After Jericho fell, the people still had to walk into the city. After your walls come down, you still have to rebuild. If your wall was poverty, you now got to learn financial literacy. If your wall was abuse, you got to learn what healthy love looks like. If your wall was silence, you got to practice speaking up. The wall falling is the miracle, but rebuilding it is the work. Now, here's where I want you to take a piece of paper and write at the top, the wall stops here. Underneath, I want you to list one pattern, one cycle, one curse you're committed to ending, and then write one step you can take this week to walk around that wall. Just one step. Because that's how walls fall, one lap at a time. Now, when I left my abusive relationship, I didn't feel like a curse breaker. I felt scared. I felt ashamed. I felt guilt. I felt like I was starting from zero with a little girl depending on me. But looking back now, I realized that moment was the trumpet blast. That was the shout that cracked the wall. And every day since, that has been another brick falling. Let's always remember that generational curses make you think the wall is stronger than you. But here's the truth. You are stronger than the wall. You're not just breaking it for you. You're breaking it for your children, for the whole line after you. You are rewriting the DNA of your family tree. And that in itself is such a warrior moment. You're handing down keys instead of chains and blessings instead of burdens. And that, my dear friend, is holy, holy work. Now, since we're speaking on walls and airing it all out, let me also add that one of my walls was control. I thought if I could just plan everything, fix everything, micromanage every detail, then maybe life wouldn't hurt me again. But control is just another kind of prison. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're really just exhausting yourself. Breaking that curse means learning to trust, to flow, to surrender. And that is hard when survival has taught you the complete opposite. which is why so many families are cursed with unhealthy love, marriages that are cages, relationships built on trauma bonds, settling because you've never seen what real love looks like. I had to learn that love is not supposed to hurt more than it heals. That's the curse. Believing pain equals passion. The wall of Jericho in relationships comes down when we teach ourselves and our children that love is safety, love is growth, and love is freedom. And we also have to remember that even in some of the darkest moments and even some of the brightest moments, shame can be one of the tallest walls. Is that voice that says you're broken, you're unworthy, you're too much, you're not enough. That wall kept me small for years. Shame is inherited, passed down like an heirloom. Don't tell family business. Don't rock the boat. Don't shine too bright. What happens in this house stays in this house. But shame is alive. And every time you tell your story out loud, you are tearing down that wall brick by brick. And one that honestly I can say truly surprised me the most was the curse of exhaustion. Families that grind themselves into the ground because rest was never safe. Rest was never modeled. I had to learn that rest is not laziness, it's rebellion. It's holy. It's how you tell the curse, you don't own me anymore. Rest is a weapon. Rest is a wall breaker because many of us go through trauma and we use hyperproductivity as the response to that trauma. If I don't think about it, then it won't hurt as much. If I don't think about it, then maybe I can just get past it. But the truth is, the more you suppress things like that, the harder it will be to finally heal from them. The part of healing that a lot of people don't understand is that you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and not only name the trauma, but take accountability for your action within it. Now, I'm not saying that you deserved it. I'm saying that we also have to understand that the choices we made are what put us in those predicaments. Now, for a minute, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine the wall in your life. Picture how big it feels. Picture how heavy. Now, imagine yourself circling it faithfully, steadily, step by step. Imagine that cracks forming. Imagine your children standing on the other side of that wall, calling you forward, and then picture that wall falling, loud, dramatic, all at once. Who do you become when it's gone? That's the you we're walking towards. And I want to let be real for a second. Forgiveness was one of my hardest walls. I thought forgiving meant excusing. I thought forgiving meant I had to invite people back into my life who had destroyed me. But forgiveness isn't about them. And I know we've all heard that before, that forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. And I finally understand what that means. Forgiveness is about cutting the chain that ties you to the wall. It's about saying, this ends with me. Forgiveness is not reconciliation, it's freedom. You do not have to forgive someone and then continue to let them in your life to continue to do harm to you. You can forgive someone and leave them exactly where they are, how they are, because that's what forgiveness is. When you're breaking curses, it isn't just about raising your kids differently, it's about re raising yourself as well. I had to learn how to mother me because I let forgiveness be the thing that kept letting people back into my lives. So I had to say to myself the things I never heard growing up. You're safe now. You're loved. You're allowed to rest. You don't have to earn your worth. And every time I reparent myself, I put another crack in that wall. Because generational curses are real, but so are generational blessings. You know what else runs in families? Resilience, creativity, joy, spiritual gifts, laughter that sounds the same for generations. Don't just focus on the curses. Celebrate the blessings and the small wins. Build on them. Pass those down too. Don't let the wall trick you into thinking your family story is only pain. Because when I run, I'm not just exercising, I'm circling my walls. Every step I take is proof that my body, the same body that carried trauma, is also a body that carries healing. My runs are sermons. My runs are meditations. My runs are me shouting at the wall without words. The walls of Jericho didn't fall gradually. They didn't crumble little by little. They collapsed suddenly. That's how healing feels. You walk and walk and walk and nothing changes until one day everything changes. Don't quit on lap 6 because lap 7 could be when the wall falls. Don't stop short of freedom because you might be one shot away from the wall crumbling down. And you know what else I realized on that hike? The walls are not just the final destination. The point isn't just watching them fall. The point is what to do. What do you build once the walls are gone? Because here's the trap. You can spend your whole life so focused on your walls that when they finally collapse, you don't know who you are without them. That's why a lot of people rebuild the same walls over and over again. They get out of poverty but keep the scarcity mindset. They leave the abusive relationship but repeat it with a new partner. The wall is gone, but the pattern is still alive inside. So today, let's go deeper. Let's talk about life beyond the walls because breaking curses is only half the work. Building blessings is the rest. Think about Israel after Jericho. The wall fell, but they still had to journey. The wilderness teaches us that freedom is not comfort at first. It feels unfamiliar, even scary. I know this firsthand. When I finally left, I thought I'd feel free immediately, but instead I felt lost. I felt stuck. I felt bad about leaving because freedom felt foreign. Abuse had been my normal. Poverty had been my normal. Chaos had been my normal. So peace felt unsure and dangerous. That's another curse we inherit, comfort in chaos. And breaking that curse means learning to sit in peace without sabotaging it, to breathe without guilt, to trust without suspicion, to let joy in without waiting for it to be snatched away. So let's talk about these invisible walls, the ones you don't see but you feel. The wall of self doubt, because generational curses convince you you're not enough. That wall whispers, who do you think you are? The wall of guilt, you start to rise and suddenly you feel like you're betraying your family, betraying your past. That wall tells you success is selfish. The wall of loyalty. You start breaking cycles and suddenly you feel guilty for outgrowing what you came from. Those walls don't need bricks. They live in your mind. But guess what? The mind is where the battle is won. That's where you circle, where you shout, where you tear down. Which invisible wall do you recognize within yourself? And one of the hardest curses to break is survival mode because survival will trick you into thinking you're trying. Survival says, I'm fine, I don't need help. Survival says, I'll just push through. Survival says rest is weakness. But thriving is different. Thriving is rest. Thriving is joy without guilt. Thriving is play. Thriving is choosing to live, not just exist. I remember waking up one morning after leaving my relationship and it hit me. I didn't know how to live outside of survival. I didn't know how to have peace without bracing for pain. That was my wall, and walking around it meant unlearning survival so I could learn how to thrive. Because yes, curses are inherited, but so is healing, and so is resilience, as I'll keep saying. Every wall you tear down, you pass that victory onto the next generation. That's legacy. That's what you want to be remembered for. My daughter doesn't even know the walls I've had to walk around. She doesn't know the curses I've been breaking in the quiet. She just knows the benefits. She just knows mom is present, mom is safe, mom is building something new. That's the beauty of breaking curses. The ones who benefit the most often don't even know the price you paid. And that's okay because the point is not recognition, the point is transformation. Now, I want you to reflect on the question I'm about to ask you. And there is no right or wrong answer, just truth. What legacy do you want to pass down? What's one curse you want your kids to never even know existed? And one thing I've also had to realize is that throughout all of that, we are the new adults. So we have to be the ones that take on these painful and sometimes even hard to do situations. We have to be the ones that teach practical steps for life after the walls. We have to be able to teach our kids that walls keep everyone out, but boundaries let love in, but keep harm out. And that's how you rebuild with wisdom. Rest and rhythm are just the same as learn to work from rest and not work for rest. Community because walls isolate and healing connects, and then your own vision because walls blur your future and freedom lets you dream again. After Jericho, they had to decide what kind of city to build, and you do too. You have to decide once your wall is gone, what kind of life do you want to build? Don't just aim for not broken, aim for whole, aim for abundant, aim for free and successful, and to be able to live the dreams as wildly as they come to your minds. We have to start speaking up because the curse of silence, it runs deep in families. We don't talk about that. We don't share our business. Silence keeps secrets, but it also keeps sickness alive. Breaking silence is one of the loudest shouts you can give at your wall. Your story is the trumpet. Every time you tell it, you weaken what tried to destroy you. That's why I share my story, not because it's easy, but because
Fountain
silence is the
water.
wall I refuse to rebuild.
It looked like
Because
it's
walls
coming
don't just live
from
in your mind, they live in your body. Trauma gets
over
stored in
that
your
way
nervous system, in your
somewhere.
muscles, in your
I don't know how to
breath,
zoom in on
in the
this
way you
thing, so
walk, think, breathe,
let's see.
eat, and sleep. That's why
Oh
healing
no,
has to be
that didn't.
embodied.
Okay,
Running,
well,
hiking, breathing, moving. It's all part of breaking curses. Every
like the way
step I
that
take
tree
on the
grew.
trail is proof. My body is not just a record of pain, it's a
Right, what
witness of
chair?
resilience. Now, as of right now, I want you all to take just a moment and to just do a grounding exercise with me. I want you to close your eyes and breathe in very slowly. Now, I want you to take a deep
Looked
breath
like it was
out
water.
very
I feared this
slowly. Wiggle
thing
your
at one point.
fingers, wiggle your toes, but don't open your eyes. This is grounding. This is what I would like for you all to do when you feel as though you have become overwhelmed with life. I need to remind somebody not to quit on lap six yet again because being overwhelmed can lead you to burnout. Jericho didn't fall into the seventh lap. Imagine if they had stopped one lap short. Some of you are right there. You've been doing the work, but you don't see results yet. You've been circling, 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 and you feel tired. But baby, you might be one lap away. Don't quit before you shout. Now, let me just say that the walls in your family, they are not permanent. The curses that have chased you, they are not forever. The pain that you're enduring, it will be gone one day. You are the curse breaker. You are the wall shaker. You are the legacy builder. So walk your laps, lift your voice, find your people. And when that time comes, don't be afraid to shout because the walls will fall. And when they do, don't just celebrate, build. Build the life of your ancestors dreamed of but never saw. Build the blessing your children will inherit. Build the city beyond the wall. This is the holy work. This is the healing work. And this is what we mean when we say the wall stops here. Now, I also feel though as I have to bring up the fact that a lot of us, especially with social media being such a big part of everyone's lives, comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is a wall that will eat your soul alive. You scroll Instagram, you watch everybody's highlight reel, and you start to believe you're behind. You're not enough. And I need you to hear me out here. Comparison is a curse. It runs in families too. When you grow up being compared to siblings, cousins, neighbors, it becomes a lot. It's a big weight on you. And breaking that wall means choosing your own race. Your healing may not look like mine. Your success may not look like theirs. And that's okay. You're not called to win their battle. You're called to walk your own personal Jericho. Some of us aren't just truly afraid to heal. We're afraid of the failure. Like we're doing something wrong when we get backtracked in healing, or we're doing something wrong when we miss someone that we know have hurt us. But some of us aren't really afraid of failure. We're afraid of succeeding on our healing journey. We're afraid of shining too bright because our family told us not to outgrow them. We're afraid of abundance because we've only ever known lack. That's a wall in itself. Fear of success, fear of healing is a Jericho you've got to circle until you realize your light doesn't dim theirs. And if they feel as though it does, maybe they don't deserve to be in your light. We're afraid of abundance because we've only ever known lack. And that's a wall of that you genuinely just have to understand is not yours to fight. You have to let go of those self doubts and those fears and learn to trust within yourself again. Because when you healed, you are rebelling against everything your bloodline was said was normal. Abuse was normal. Anger was normal. Silence was normal. But healing is what makes you the black sheep. Healing is you saying, I will not carry what broke them. I will not repeat what destroyed them. That's why it feels so hard sometimes because you're not just fighting your own battle. You're fighting battles that are centuries old. But guess what? You're also carrying centuries of prayers of ancestors who dreamed of the day someone like you would rise and say, this ends here. Because at the end of the day, we have to always understand that just because people see us doing good, just because we want those people to see us doing good, doesn't necessarily mean that they want what's best for us. Some people are scared to see us shine. Some people are scared of seeing you do better than them, and that's okay. Those people are not meant to be in your life. Those are the ones who will bring you down with the wall of guilt. And even the wall of perfectionism is a curse too. It tells you if I'm flawless, maybe I'll finally be safe. Maybe I'll finally be loved. But perfection is a prison. You spend your whole life auditioning for acceptance that should have been yours from birth. And I am someone who can speak on this just in general as someone who genuinely feels as though I need everything to be perfect before I can get anything done. I can tell you that now that I am practicing the absence of perfectionism, it is truly life changing because breaking that wall means embracing your humanity, which is messy, imperfect, whole, and free. So, I would like to give y'all a little teaching live demo here. I want y'all to do a journal prompt for me. What wall am I still circling? And I know I keep asking y'all this question, but it is such an important question. I want you to all look into the mirror and look yourself in the eyes and say, that wall stops here. I need you to do that every day because every day you need to remind yourself of what you really fighting for. Now, I do want to go ahead and end this off on a positive note because as you can see, we finally made it to the bottom of this trail and your girl was kind of tired. It was a little hot out here. This ended up being like a 5 mile walk down a mountain and back up, like round trip, and your girl was tired. But once we got down here to this creek and I got to see all the beauty that lies within it, I was immensely proud of myself for making this trip because I wanted to turn back so many times. And I genuinely want to say that this hike also showed me what the fruits of your labor can feel like. Because on the way down, I was just genuinely lost. I didn't know. I didn't know if I by the middle of it on the way down, I was really genuinely sitting there like, hey, I think we might have messed up, man. And that's one thing I can say that I've noticed within my healing journey and within my clients' healing journeys as well is that like you get to the middle of that healing journey and that chaos starts to ensue because all the walls are starting to fall down and you're trying to figure out who you are and what's going on and what life is for you. And you'll look back and be like, man, maybe I should have stayed up there at the top of this hiking trail, honey, because I am in for a rude awakening, huh? But then I got down here and I feel like this is a very like a moment that I can resonate with very well because even as of right now today with me recording this voiceover, I got down to the end of this hiking trail and see this creek and I was like, dang, it was all worth it, huh? And that's one thing I was telling a client today is that even though you are in the midst of the storm, when you come out of it and the sun starts to shine and you start to figure out who you are and where you want to go in life and things start to align with perfect precision and you start to feel divine intervention coming through, you will look up and be like, dang, I am so happy I did that. Because at the end of the day, deciding to choose you, your love, self love, to choose your kids and your well being and your peace over the peace, needs, and necessities of anyone else, you start to truly live life. When you start to break down those walls of all the people that you felt like had expectations for you and the guilt of feeling like you weren't living up to those expectations, whether it was a friendship, family member, relationship, it doesn't matter. Letting go of all of those expectations that people have placed upon you by starting to heal and understand that the only person in life that can be happy with your decisions is you, and that's all that matters, is when you genuinely start to realize just how far you've come in life. I remember being the little girl who wanted to be perfect for her mom. I remember being the little girl who didn't understand why my dad kept going to jail. Was I not worth staying out for? Did he not love me enough? I remember asking myself all these questions. Why is the person that says they love me, why is my man putting his hands on me, ghosting me, telling me like degrading me? And looking back, it's hard to say in the midst of the survival mode, but looking back as someone who is seeing the sky, the clear blue sky, I can genuinely say it wasn't me. It was them. It was the stuff that they were battling with in their own life, and they used me as the outsource for that. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't trade what where I am right now in life for anything else because at the end
Shit.
of the day, I truly get to live it now. I don't just get to be out here wondering if I'm going to get into an argument today. I get to actually have a good day, and it can be a good day without anyone ruining it, regardless of why they're ruining it. I come to you as I'm leaving the walls of Jericho because, mind you, on the way back up, we was through, man. We was tired. Like we was tired. We was counting down the steps to get to the front of the hiking trail. I was exhausted. It was a great experience. I felt amazing. It's something that I feel like we all should do. Get out in nature, be one with it. And if you're not a naturey person, that's completely okay. I grew up in the country, so I'm used to being in nature, and it's just such a breath of fresh air for me to be away from the spotlight. I even bought a camcorder so I didn't have to pull my phone out while I was on the trail and be distracted with nonsense. And to be honest with you, when you finally let go of all the things that you feel were holding you back, you start to see exactly who you are. I stopped trying to be what the world wanted me to be and decided to be exactly who I was. And it has been an amazing experience for me. And I am just here to tell my story. This channel is dedicated to helping those who want to heal, heal. And it is also here for me to tell my story. I thought about it the other day and I realized that my daughter will be the one that sees these one day in her future, that one day I might not be here and these videos will be here to guide her while I'm gone. These videos are also here to guide you as well because everybody needs someone sometimes. We all need a family. And even though I don't know you, I am so proud of you for where you are right now in life, whether you're at the beginning of your journey, the middle of your journey, or if you're thriving within your healing journey. I want you to know that you are so amazing and you are so blessed and you are such a gracious person. And to be here on my channel, supporting my page, and not only my page, but yourself, your life, your peace is something that you can't take back. I love you guys, and thanks again for coming with me. And although this is a channel where we talk about serious subjects in a not so serious way, mental health is something that should definitely always be taken seriously. So if you or someone you know are battling a mental health crisis, please be sure and feel free to reach out to the resources that I have provided here. Again, you are loved, you are wonderful, you are a blessing to have on this earth, and we are honored to have you here with us, and never forget that. Again, thank you so much for coming and joining me on this journey, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.